All right, so today we're going to do a number talk, okay? Remember, number talks are mental math, so you'll be solving the problem in your mind, okay?
Do not yell it out.
Don't yell it out like you just did, right? All right, so we're not going to yell out. When I show you a picture, today's are going to be pictures. Remember, sometimes number talks have like equations or expressions, but today they're just going to be pictures. You're going to figure out how many. As you figure out how many, you're going to show me on your fingers how many ways you can figure it out. So can you figure out one way, 2 ways, 3 ways?
How many ways do you have your fingers? How many fingers?
And you're going to show me that many fingers. Now, I also want to encourage you to not count by ones. So your mind is going to want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but don't do that.
Just do 5, 10, 20.
Maybe count by 5s, by 3s,
Twos.
something like that. All right, you ready? So I'm going to show you the first picture, and I want you to figure out how many dots there are. You ready? Here comes the first picture. Here comes the first picture. You figure out how many. And be ready to share with us how you figured it out. Taylor, will you share with us your thinking? How many are there? First of all, how many do you think there are?
I think they are
10. How many did you think, Hayden?
10.
So Hayden thinks there's 10 as well. How were you thinking about it, Taylor?
I have 2 equations.
Okay.
I'm thinking by going 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Or you go 3 by 2, 3 by 2 equals. If I add one of those, I would have 5 in all and 5 on the bottom row. That would equal 10, but I have 2 equations row equal the same answer, but they're switched.
All right, so I hear 2 different things. So first you told me 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 makes 10. And then you told me, or you told me 3 and 2 makes
5.
5.
Then there's 5 more. Then 5 plus 5 equals 10.
Equals 10.
That's an easy problem.
Okay, so they're both 10. Okay, we sit crisscross applesauce for me very still. Thank you. Hayden, how did you think about it? I'm going to put another one up there, and you tell me, how did you think about it? So Taylor thought about it as adding different groups. Okay?
I thought about it as,
Please use a loud voice.
I knew that 3 times 2 was 6.
Okay.
I knew that 3 times 2 was 6, and then I did 2 by 2, which was 4, and then I added the 4 and the 6, and got 10.
So you decompose this into 3 by 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. Hold on one second. I need to go over some rules of number talks, because already there's a few things we've done that don't really fit into number talks well. First of all, my job as the teacher is to record, okay? So I record. Your job is to share your thinking verbally. It's important that you have to be able to share your thinking without touching the paper, because that tells me that you have the right vocabulary. You can say the right words to indicate your mathematical thinking. So I want you not to touch my markers, and I want you not to touch the board, okay? I want you to be able to use your words to explain, okay? So 3 times 2 is 6, you said, Hayden. And then you separated it into this other little group, which was 2 times 2.
Which equals 4, and then I added the 4 and the 6 and got 10.
Equals 10. Okay.
Like 6 plus 4 is 10. Or do 6 times 4, it would equal something like, but it's going to equal way bigger.
6 times 4.
All right.
4 times.
So, are ready for the next one? All right. Let's move on to the next one. All right. Here's the next one. Taylor thinks he already has a way. He hasn't even seen it yet. All right. Here's our next dot card. How many and how do you know? Hayden, how many do you think there are?
I think there are 10.
Okay, I need you to use a big voice. Okay, Taylor, how many do you think there are?
I think there's 10 and...
Please push your phone down.
I think there are 10. Also, I think it's group
So you think, let's hold on one second. There's 10, and you're talking about groups. So you agreed that both of you agreed there's 10. You're talking about groups. What groups do you see when you look at this picture, Taylor?
I see.
Use your words. Use your words.
I see 5 rows coming down, 2 rows of 5 coming down, and 5 rows coming sideways.
Okay, so you're using the word row. So do rows go this way or this way?
This way.
So which way?
This way.
Rows go this way.
And columns go
down. Okay, so you are saying you see 5 rows of
column.
5 rows of, how many are in each
Row.
How many? 5 rows of 2.
Then the next is 2 rows of 5.
2 rows of 5. Which one of these pictures shows nicely 2 rows of 5?
That one, but it's flipped.
So this one shows 2 rows of 5. And this one shows 5 rows of 2. How do we write that as multiplication? Hayden, do you remember?
This one would be 5 times 2, and this one would be 2 times 5.
This is 5 times 2. Okay.
This one is 2
and
times
this one
5.
is 2 times 5.
If you look at the 2 problems, they'll be switched, but they equal the same answer.
They equal the same answer. They're switched. So can I tell you what that's called in mathematics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In mathematics, we call that the commutative
property.
Commutative property. Commutative property. And the commutative property tells us that we can switch these numbers. We call these numbers factors. So we can switch the factors, but even when we switch the factors, what do we know about the answers?
They stay the same.
They stay the same. Okay. So even when we switch the factors, we call this the product. The product stays the same. Okay.
Because they're just switched, and if they're switched, that means they equal the same answer.
That's right. These pictures are just switched. All right. Here's the next one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost my glue. Here it is. All right. Here's our next one. And you're going to figure out how many and how do you know. All right. Here we go. How many and how do you know? Taylor has a few ways. Hayden, I'm going to let you share first. How did you think about it?
I thought about it as 2 groups of 6.
Tell me more.
I saw 6 here,
Uh-huh.
and I saw another 6 here.
Okay. Can you do it without touching my board?
Sorry. And I saw 2 6. And I saw 2 6s in total.
Uh-huh.
And I knew that 6 plus 6 equals 12. So there's 12 dots in total.
So there's 12 dots in total. Okay. Taylor, how did you think about it? Did you think about it just like Hayden?
No.
No. How did you think about it?
I thought it just a little bit.
A little bit like Hayden? All right. Let me get one up and you tell me how you thought about it.
I thought about it by 4.
Excuse me.
I saw 4 and 4, and these two make 4, because 4 plus 4 is 8. And the 2 more makes the 10, and there's 2 more for equals 12. But it's in a different prompt. 4 plus 4 plus 2 equals 6.
So you
12.
saw 4 and 4 makes...
No, I
8.
saw 4 and 4.
Show me the 4. What way are they going? No, show me with words. Oh, so you saw this. 4 and 4 makes 8.
Then I add 2 more to the 8. That equals 10. I have 2 left. That will equal 12. For that equals the same answer as Hayden's problem, but it's in a different way.
Okay, so it's the same as Hayden's, but in a different way. What if we wanted to think about this as multiplication? How could we think of this as multiplication? Earlier, we said that this one is 5 rows of 2. or 5 times 2? How do we think about this one?
3 rows of 4.
3 rows of 4. Would you agree, Hayden?
Yes, I would.
How would we write that as multiplication?
3 times 4.
3 times 4 is
If you're going
12.
the other way, it would be 4 times 3.
Oh, so Taylor thinks we might want to go the other way. All right, you ready for the next picture?
Yes.
All right.
This is our...
Here's the next one. And you scoot back just a little so the people behind you can see.
Sure.
All right, so how many are there and how do you know? So when you have one way, you've got one thumb. 2 ways, you have 2 fingers. 3 ways, you have 3 fingers. All right, Taylor, will you share your thinking?
Yes. It's just the same problem, but if you're going down on columns, it would be 4. You're going on columns this way, it would be 3, 3, 3. For then you go here, it would be 3 rows of 4.
Okay, so this one we looked at was 3 rows of 4. Taylor, will you be still sit crisscross applesauce for me and facing the board? All right, so this was 3 rows of 4. What's this one?
That one is 4 rows of 3.
4 rows of 3.
Then the next is 3 rows of 4, but we already got that.
So this one's 4 rows of 3, and this one is 3 rows of
4.
So how many circles are there, Taylor?
They are 12.
There are 12. So if I wrote that as multiplication, how would I write it, Hayden?
You would write it 4 times 3.
4 times 3 equals 12. And Taylor said they were just flipped. What's that math word that means I can just flip those factors and have the same product? What's that word, Hayden? Do you remember?
Commutative property.
Commutative property. So again, he used the commutative property. That's how he knew it so fast. He knew it as soon as I put it up. All right? So here's our final problem for the day.
Okay.
Be ready. It's a little bit hard, but I think you can figure it out. Here it is.
A lot of dots.
There's a lot of dots. Try not to count one by one. I want to push you to think multiplicatively, meaning thinking about groups and rows and columns as you're figuring this out, okay? I want you to push you to think that way because I think you're both ready to think that way. Hayden, can you tell us about this?
I saw 9. I saw a 9 there. And I saw 2 groups of 9.
Okay, you saw 2 groups of 9.
And 9 plus 9 is 18.
Yeah. And then Taylor added in 9 plus 9 is 18. Okay. So how is that multiplicative thinking, Hayden?
Because I did 3 times 3 to find out the...
Oh, so you did 3 times 3 and 3 times 3. Nice. Okay. Taylor, how did you think about that one?
I thought it is...
Can you tell me in words, please?
I thought it was... I went 6 plus 6 equals 12. And I 6 more equals 18.
Okay, so you notice there were...
6 in one row.
Okay.
For 2 rows equals 12. Try 6 more. 2 plus 6 is 8. For I have a 10 for it's 18.
So you notice there were 6 in each row. Okay? How many rows were there?
3.
There were 3 rows. So there are 3 rows of 6.
6.
So how do I write that as multiplication?
2 rows.
Hold on one second. How do we write 3 rows of 6 as multiplication?
6 times 6.
3 rows of 6. How do we write it as multiplication?
3 times 6.
3 times 6, okay. And the way you figured that out was you thought about 6 plus 6 is 12.
Then 6 more
And then
equals
6
8.
more.
Equals
Okay.
8 for...
So
I just
6
add
plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 6 is 18. Okay, so Taylor, you often think about multiplication, but you don't know your facts yet, so you just use some other addition method to figure it out. So that's pretty cool. That means you're growing in your understanding of multiplication. All right, here's the last card for the day for you to figure out how many. Where'd my glue stick go? Oh, here it is. All right. You ready? Oh, I'll stick that back up in just a second while you're thinking. How many and how do you know? Ooh, you knew so fast. Taylor, how did you know so fast? How did you know so fast, Taylor?
Please read this word for
Oh,
me.
the commutative property. Okay, tell me more. So use the commutative property?
Flipped as this. See?
It's flipped?
It's flipped as these.
It's the same thing and flipped.
Flipped.
So instead of 3 groups of 6, what are there?
6 groups of 3.
6 groups of 3. And what is the answer, Taylor?
18.
18.
Same thing, but it's just
Flipped, okay? So, Taylor just used the commutative property, okay? The commutative property tells us that we can flip the factors. Those are the numbers we're multiplying. But even when we flip the factors, what always stays the same?
The product.
The product or the answer always stays the same. So I hope in our coming math lessons you'll be able to use this commutative property to make multiplication easier, because if you know one fact, you can flip it and you know another fact. Very good.